But I don't know, it just seems sort of out of place to me.
It's the end of Minecraft.
Yeah, you watch the Twitter sphere blow up then. It's totally something unique and different in the Minecraft world.
Hello, and welcome to Minecraft Lab, where we explore, experiment, and theorize about all things Minecraft. I am Minor Thoughts, and with me is a man who just discovered if you put the right kind of wood in the new crafter block, you get the Troj.
Hello, Miner. I like that one. I'm now a trial spawning mob. I like it.
Yeah, we want to get everyone caught up to date on what's going on with the new snapshots and the new trial chambers.
Yeah, that was the latest snapshot that came out at time of recording this week. And it's got a lot of people talking around the place. A lot of theories that were out there. A lot of play testing that's going on around the place with various creators and whatnot. And looking forward to deep diving this one today.
I tried a couple things, a couple rumored things. We'll get into it. But yeah, I've toyed around with it. Have you jumped into the trial chambers yourself?
I have not physically played them, but I've watched a few videos around the place. I watched Azuma Boy did a live stream with a couple of other creators around there, giving them a go actually in creative. And I've watched his videos as well and saw his thoughts on them. Just from reading them and seeing them, I've got some thoughts as well. And I think this comes back to what we said at the announcement at Minecraft Live. For me, it still seems, I like it. I like the idea of what they're trying to do and putting in this thing in there to give people, something to do. But it just seems sort of out of place to me. Like it's totally something unique and different in the Minecraft world. And it's like we're putting a mod or a mini game into the game. Now, I know we all play and we make mini games in Minecraft, but they're actually putting a mini game into Minecraft. There's part of me that sits there going, it feels out of place. But, this is the new Minecraft. This is the new direction of the game.
I have all kinds of thoughts about this. I myself watched the Azuma Void live stream, a little bit of it, and I noticed that one of the Minecraft Mojang developers was in there, Nembomb, and I was really hoping that he would give us a little inside information, but apparently not.
Probably was under very strict orders, sir.
Oh, yeah. An NDA or something like that.
Yeah, we can't have another Roger Badgerman so overtly obvious.
Well, I think they are all Roger Badgerman. Everyone at Mojang, it's for hype. It's got to be for hype.
More than likely, but we'll never know for certain unless they come out and say it. But it is what
right. Yeah. I have so many different thoughts about this. I was thinking that this is going to be, I think, now it's just theory. This is not fact. This is not me trying to dissect what is presented to us, but this is just my theory. I think this is going to be the overworld's version or the overworld's equivalent of like an end city, to where people go out to end cities to get the loot, to get the shulker shells. And I think what the key might be is something that people are going to want to go back because they, it's something they can sort of farm to go back and get over and over again. Like we go to the end to get shulker shells, end city raiding. People are going to go trial chamber raiding. And it's just something that, you can continuously go back to and not do just once.
And that's something that I've been very vocal about in this podcast with, the more recent updates like, the ancient cities. Once you've done it, you've had the experience, you've got your Swift sneak for your pants, there's no reason to go back. The loot tables don't give you any incentive to go back to an ancient city. And you're right. The opposite of that is actually the end cities, where you've got a reason to go back. Well, maybe less so now because you've got shulker farms that you can actually create relatively simply. But there is a reason, if you don't want to make those farms, to go back out into the end and find those things. And I am hoping you're right. And that's one thing on my notes for this podcast that I wrote down here is like, this is all a good theory. And I do see that they made a note in the article, it's designed for the mid-game, and it's obviously designed to give players something to do. But while everything that I've read and everything that I've watched, I'm there thinking, please let this have something, some reason to come back to, other than it's just something to do. So if I look at Interrealms, the ancient cities were this big thing that, some of us went out and did because it was something to do. Not necessarily to get any loot or anything specific, but it was something to do. And the trial chambers definitely tick that box of something to do for the player like myself who gets what you want out of it and don't go back because there's no reason to go back. I hope this one's different.
Right. And that was my theory, is it's hopefully brings us something. I hate to use the word farm, but I mean, that's what people are going to do. Works himself has already figured out how to farm keys. Nobody knows what they're going to be for, but if it's something that could be, a renewable and worth it to continuously go to these things, then yeah. They said the loot tables for the chests and whatnot are still in the works, so no one really knows yet what that's going to be.
There's, as it stands at the moment, there's actually some decent loot in these trial chambers. Particularly, I think it's in the clay jars, decorative pots, or whatever they're called, the pots. If I say the pots, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. You can get like diamond blocks in those things at times. Right. So, there's some decent loot in there. For me, it's not just the loot. It's the reason to go there apart from just something to do. And coming back to that key, it's going to be interesting to see what they do make that key do. Obviously, it's going to have to do something. And I'm gonna say something here which is going to trigger you. But if you have a look at the key, on the end of the key is a skull that matches the design of what you see on the side of a spawner. What if you use the keys to set what the spawners actually put out? Now, I think the keys, based on the design, has something to do with the spawner. That's my theory.
I don't know. See, yeah, you're right. A little bit triggered, but not real, not extremely triggered. I myself looked at the MBT data of the spawners, and it is pretty much set. The only way you could, and people have been trying this, the only way you could really change it is within creative. And Azuma and friends were trying to do that, or they did that with a couple of them, had them spawn different things, but you have to do that in creative. Now, as far as that goes, it's really, really a stretch. And I promised I wouldn't mention names, but the article that was published before they actually gave us the snapshot, as always, they're vague about things. And there are people that picked it apart and started assuming certain things. Now, I feel personally responsible for them going back and changing that article, because I was adamant. It was not what was written was not what people were assuming, that you could change the type of spawner in survival. For me, it just didn't seem logical.
I can understand how people came to that conclusion, though. In the Minecraft live presentation, the way it was said that, the spawners would put out mobs reflective of what blocks were around it. So we know now, bone blocks mean skeletons, and mossy cobblestone means zombies and things like that. But it's only an indication. At the time, I must admit, at the time, I thought, maybe the blocks that are around it is what actually impacts what goes into it. So my mind was on that same line as well. The further it got down the line of, it's just an indication, it makes more sense.
And they went back and reworded the article, clarified some things about that. Saying it is just a signifier. It doesn't really affect what is the spawner actually is.
I think that shows that, the way they did it, the English language is a wonderful thing. You can have a sentence be totally interpreted two different ways because it's just the way it comes across. And that's why English is such a hard language to learn, apparently, is because, there, and there. I've just said three different words that all sound the same that have three different meanings, I can understand why some people were on that line of thinking at first because I was there. But then, you do get people too that like to do the whole clickbait thing and, just cause controversy for the sake of clicks and attention, and you're probably better off just going, mute that person because it'll get rolled up as much.
See, and I'm the type of person when I don't know, when I latch on to something that I know is just wrong, I don't know, I guess I get passionate about it. And, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Look, in hindsight, your line was probably definitely the one that made the most sense. But again, I can understand how people interpreted it as saying, if you place these sort of blocks around a spawner, it will become a spawner of this particular thing, because that is a way it was possibly to be taken. In hindsight, the less likely, but definitely that's the way they were presenting it.
I think I knew from the last line of that article that it was kind of jokingly said that I wonder if I put beetroot around the spawner, it'll spawn only pigs. I knew that was just in jest. That was just a joke.
Yeah, I got that as a joke.
They weren't being serious.
No, but some people would take it as go, oh, see, here's an indication that you can alter it. I got that was a joke as well.
Yeah. No, it has to be, it does have to be a spawnable block. So if you put like glass around it, it's not going to spawn on that. And like I said, RaiseWorks already working on farms.
Well, speaking of farms, the one good thing that I do like, because I think I said to you right at the start was, diamond farm, or farm,
Right.
Because in the video they showed, some of the loot that was coming out of the spawner was diamonds. And I think they've taken that into account, and because they've put such a long cooldown on these spawners, I think it's going to be very hard between the cooldown of 30 minutes and, you have to have multiple players there to scale it up. I think it's going to be very hard to make it, a farm that's going to be worth doing any sort of farming for unless it is for keys.
Speaking of things that signify these trial chambers, I was kind of having a little chat with a Rebel JC on the Twitter or the Xer, and he was talking. He's raising the question of how are we going to know how to get into these things? Like with ancient cities, you find them in mountainous areas. With the strongholds, you have to use ender pearls. So we're kicking around ideas, or I was throwing out some ideas, and one of them was like, where a lush cave is because there's an azalea tree on top. That was one of the ideas. I forgot what the other one. I mean, anybody's listening to this, if you have an idea, shoot us a message. Find us on Twitter and let us know what you think will. Your theories on how we'll be able to find these. What do you think?
And I actually thought his was a very good point. What's to stop you at the moment from bashing your way into the hardest room of the trial chamber? And you're getting smashed. So it was a really good point. In Azuma's video, he said he generated a few, and every structure had a single room with a tree in it, which he assumed was the starting room. Well, okay,
right.
If the starting room is on the east and you happen to find it from the west, how do you know that's the starting room? And if they have to introduce a new tree to give us a new sort of wood that indicates dig down here to get to the starting room, and it's all based on a new wood, that would be fantastic. I get my new wood, baby.
You get your new wood.
Yeah, we're going to have new wood. New wood is good.
Also, other thing that I thought of was, how they're kind of changing the cartographer and showing the structures on the map. Maybe you can buy a map, a trial chamber map from the cartographer, or find it in a shipwreck.
That's not bad. I like it. They could probably add in maps too, if you're thinking about it, for ancient cities. Most people can generally find, they're worked out that they're under big mountains, those sort of things. But, you're starting off in a new world, you might not necessarily know that one's going to be there. Or for a new player as well, who's going to, if you just bought the game for the first time and you're going to go, oh, here's a big mountain, let's go under it, I'm going to find an ancient city, you'd have no idea.
Right.
It's the sort of thing you might accidentally fall on. So I like the whole map thing. And it gives it more of a use for cartographers too, especially for newer players.
Right. Cartographers, or find them in sunken ships, the treasure maps, things like that, to where you find a map within and there. Because they did say this was a mid-game type challenge. So early game, you're going to be finding shipwrecks and things like that, and maybe it's something that could be worked in there somehow.
I do generally like that map idea. Yeah, it's not a bad one. A new map that leads to a new tree that gives you a new wood, and you go down to a new trial spawner. Perfect. It all syncs up. We could develop this game.
We could throw out theories all day long, but we really don't know what Mojang's going to do. These past 2 updates, I really didn't expect them to go this direction. Everybody's thinking the end. Some of the things they've given us, I really didn't expect. I mean, this is along them same lines. I didn't really expect to have something like the trial chambers. But as far as the past couple of updates, the wild and the trails and tales, I think they're maybe on a upward swing again, giving people things more of what they've been asking for, or something that's going to not just add something new, but kind of update the game. Especially with the new crafter and the copper bulb, those things people are calling game changing.
Well, from a Redstone perspective, they 100% are game-changing. As we discussed with Jurassics in the last couple of episodes, that copper bulb and that crafter is just, absolutely out there in terms of, the functionality changes that it can bring to the game. And as I said, it's got me thinking about a whole line of strategy for the next world of Interrealms that will fall when we eventually move to it. The thing that I have, though, is... Well, there's 2 things here. They're definitely on a path of giving people something to do in the game, to adventure, to explore, to get something. Now, we have seen in the history of Interrealms, our server has been going for 3 years. We've had three worlds in that time. The most recent one, I think, is about 2 years old at the moment, the current one, and it's coming towards its natural conclusion, its natural end before we update. Mm-hmm. We've seen it every time. At some stage, when you get towards the end of a world, the activity drops off because people have completed their builds, they've done their projects, there's nothing to do. But that's a Minecraft thing in total. Once you get to a certain point, what do you do anymore in the game? And you can definitely see the last few updates, or at least the last couple, the wild, the trails and tales, and now this one, it's adding things to the game for people to do. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But not one of those things matches the Nether update in terms of people that have played in the past going, oh, wow, that's new. I got to come back to the game. Or new players coming along and going, oh, I want to give this game a go. I don't see anything in the trial chambers having people coming and going, oh, let's give that a go. Because, look, let's face it, you can get mods, you can get other games that do similar things, maybe even better than what you're going to get in a trial chamber. So it's not an update that's going to be hitting that high notes from that perspective based on what we're seeing at the moment. I'm also basing that assumption on, I put a poll up on my channel only 16 hours ago, but it's had a decent number of hits since then. And I asked, what's the best part of the new trial chambers? 50% of the vote has gone for all that ready to grab copper.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So, the most exciting thing apparently about the trial chambers is look at all that copper that's ready to go.
correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it all except for the bulbs? Isn't it all waxed copper? Isn't it already waxed copper?
Quite possibly, but you can unwax.
Right.
You just got to hit it with an axe.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have different types of Minecraft players. There are going to be those that just tear it apart and, turn it into farms or build a base out of it or, build a mini game out of it. I'm hoping there's some replayability, something to continuously go back, like the end, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and as much as the end needs an update, there's a reason to go back to the end, especially if you're not going to build a shulker farm. There's a reason to go back to the end. There's no reason to go back to an ancient city. Once you got really everything out of the nether, there's really like the bastions, so to speak. Once you got everything out of the bastions, there's nothing really to go back to the bastions for. So let's hope this new structure gives us something to go back for. And I think it's all around those keys. What do the keys do?
And, and we still have our theories, and other people have mentioned theories that this is going to be, centered. Well, they said it was going to be centered around combat and tinkering.
Yeah.
We don't know what the name will be, but there are still things yet unannounced. What the keys are for. What kind of new wood will we get? Will we get a biome that gets an update? They tease the armadillo, which I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. And look, it's I think we need to remember this is early on in this development cycle. Even though what we're seeing at the moment are highly polished, almost ready for release items. We saw this last time with 1.20. They put things out very quickly after the Minecraft Live. We're seeing the same thing. But then you think, how much after all of that came out, how much more did we get when 120 actually dropped? So
I'm trying to think.
There's more to come.
Well, what else did we get besides the initial camels, bookshelves, hanging signs, and bamboo, I think. But then we got cherry wood. Sniffers. Well, that was part of the combo. Archaeology.
Armor trims.
Armor trims was unexpected. That was totally unexpected.
I would like to see a new armor trim in the trial chamber.
Right.
That would be good. It would make sense. It would make more consistency.
We're probably going to see another record, another music disc.
I hope so. And personally, is it Lena Rain? I hope she comes back for another one. I quite like her tracks.
Definitely. So there is more to be expected, and we'll more than likely cover more of these snapshots or big developments in the 1.21 update. But I before we go, I had a thought that kind of to go along with what I said just a bit ago, that they've kind of sprung these random things on us, and they have seemed kind of random. Not really. I mean, this one's a little bit more cohesive, but I think when it comes to the end, they just need to come out and say, okay, 1.22 or 1.23 is going to be the end. Don't say anything else, but it's going to be the end.
Let's clarify there. You mean the end dimension, not the end of Minecraft as we know it, right?
Right. I mean, the end of Minecraft, right.
1.23, the end.
The end.
That's it. No more.
Well, no, in Mojang, they'd say, they'd say that on April Fools. It's the end of Minecraft.
Yeah, you watch the Twitter sphere blow up then.
Yeah.
Rounding out today's chat, we've actually had some communications, Minor, from listeners. We have. And apologies about this one. It came through about a month ago. Because we actually have a preset recording schedule in line, sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to get things through. But this actually relates to the mob vote. But we had an email from an Adam and about the mob vote. And he was going to vote for the crab due to its potential future development. Example, possibly adding a crab claw to a piston. would allow it to extend 2 blocks rather than 1. Lost opportunities we'll never see, but that wouldn't have been a bad idea. But unfortunately, we're now stuck with the armadillo.
Mm-hmm. I have a whole tangent on armadillo. In reality, I knew the armadillo was going to get. So I was trying to think of ideas of how the armadillo, how they could make it better or make dog AI better. But I don't know if you want to get into that or not.
We'll save that for when the armadillo comes out.
Yes. Yeah.
The other bit of contact that we've had is actually something a little bit surprising. So at time of recording, over on Twitch, I was streaming last night and we had Dab Play come through. And Dab turned around and said, "Oh, found you on the podcast. Thought I'd come over and say hello." Guys, if you would like to talk to us, both Miner and myself live stream over on Twitch. Mm-hmm. We make videos on YouTube, but we do live stream on Twitch. You can find me you go to Twitch and you Google the number one Troj, and I will show up. Hopefully there'll be a link in the description this week. And Miner, a little bit exciting news coming up next week, starting, if you're listening to this at time of release, on the 17th of November, I've been invited by Twitch to Subfest for the ANZ, Australia, New Zealand Subfest. So that's an event, it goes for about 9 days, where I can earn some prizes and there'll be prizes for chat. I'm going to be streaming every day over that period, if I can. And it should be really exciting. So if there's anyone listening that hasn't touched base with us yet and would love to have a chat, what better time than next week? Come in, say hello.
And that email that was mentioned that you can find us on is minecraftlabpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on X or Twitter if you prefer at @mclab_podcast. And then, find us on Twitch. Pop into the streams and hopefully one of these days before the end of the year, we'll try and have a Minecraft or the lab live on Twitch.
We did a couple of them last year. We haven't done one this year. Just hasn't worked out with the way life has been. But speaking of Twitch, Miner, where do people find you?
Minor Thoughts on Twitch.
Amazing.
I think I'm the only one. Mojang's going to do what they're going to do with these trial chambers and with the trial, the key from the trial spawner. Who knows? Give us your thoughts. Give us your theories. We'll meet back here and discuss what happened.
Yeah, well, we're still early on development. They've said it's just a peak, and I really want to know what these keys are going to do. Right, that's intriguing. Surely they're not going to just enter them into the game and have no functionality. Surely it will do something.
Well, join us next time, and until then, I do believe I have something to blow up somewhere.
Usually.
And Troj, he's got a tree somewhere he can get some wood from.
I am off to try and find the new wood. There's got to be new wood in this update. I'm sorry.
Gotta be new wood.
Gotta be new wood. If not, we're going to petition Mojang.
Right. Gotta be new wood. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you later all. Bye.
I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.